Hi you guys, it's Amanda with Healthy House on the block here, and this week I'm here talking to you about not a specific toxin, but just in general, what do we do with areas of our homes that we absolutely cannot feasibly change at the moment? This can be something that I think when we don't understand this process, we can get overwhelmed very, very quickly. Once you start realizing what types of toxins are in your home, you naturally want to remove them and change out products, change how you're doing things, change out materials. But in all honesty, that's not always a solution. It's not always an option for every family or for every house. So what do you do with those areas that you're not sure if you can change? And then what do you do when you realize you cannot change a particular area of your home? So that's what we're talking about today. This week's blog post is all about kind of this mental mindset shift and then some very tangible steps that you can take. I'm going to go through each one in the following slides for you, but if you're looking for links that I mention in this video, head to the blog post. I'll have it linked below, and you can get more information on how to change your house and maybe what steps are going to be easiest to start with. So when I first started my journey, and it's been a very long, slow process for me. I am not like a jump right in person. I like to think about things, process things, and then make my decision. So I initially started with cleaning toxins that I wanted to get out of my house, and then it kind of snowballed from there. Once I started realizing where these toxins were in my house, I kind of had a moment of overwhelm and kind of like panic because I knew that I couldn't replace all of, the furniture that we had in our home that maybe had formaldehyde in it at once. And I knew that we couldn't just rip out all of our carpet and replace it. I also knew that there were parts of the house that would probably never be changed. And what was I going to do with that? And it was a very overwhelming feeling, and it kind of made me stop and come to like a standstill where I wasn't sure how to move forward. When you feel that way, or if you feel that way, I think the best thing to do is break everything down into like the tiniest little micro steps that you can. So any tiny little step you can take with a tiny thing that's easy to change is still going to push you in the right direction. Maybe you can't rip out all your carpet, but maybe you can do something else. Maybe you can find a toxin-free rug or a natural rug to put over your carpet in certain areas, maybe where your kids play. Maybe it means, saving up or planning for when you can replace the carpet. Those were options for us. We, did what we could with the carpet we have. We still have it. We have plans to move forward. We did actually just replace our synthetic linoleum, which I'm very excited about, with a more green product. And that was something that we worked towards and researched and saved up for a few years because we just didn't know how we wanted to do it, and we wanted to do it the right way. So sometimes it's okay to take your time, but if you're feeling overwhelmed with something that you can't change, I think the best thing you can do is to stop, make a plan, assess everything, if it's even a good change for you, and then to move forward. So I'm going to take you through these slides, and we'll walk through how to deal with these areas of your house, and then what to do with habit changes, and then what to do when you just know you're not going to make that change, and that's okay. You don't have to worry about it. So here we go. Okay, so let's talk about creating a natural home. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the areas of your home that you can't change or areas that you're not going to change. So some of the factors that come into play when creating a healthy house are money and cost. So this is the first one. A lot of times we really have to think about if an expensive change, such as maybe changing out flooring, replacing drywall, maybe not worth improving your home in the grand scheme of things. So maybe it's not removing that many toxins, and for the price, it just doesn't balance out. So for example, If you were concerned about the toxins present in your furniture, maybe they contained particle board or medium density fiberboard, you could replace all of your furniture with solid wood. This is a really expensive thing to change, but you would eliminate VOCs from your home. In the same breath, a less expensive change for your home might be getting rid of all the plastic containers in your kitchen and replacing them with glass. It costs a lot less and you're still removing a toxin from your everyday life. So I like to assess the amount of money that I'll be spending to improve a particular space. It doesn't mean that I won't make the change at all ever, but it might mean that I have to budget for it, or I need to just find a different way about doing it. And sometimes there are going to be things that we're just not going to change. So the second thing is the stress of the project. Some projects are very stressful. They disrupt your daily life. If you have kids or family members who don't deal well with this, it might be something that you really need to take into consideration when you're thinking about changing an area of your house. It might even mean breaking a big project down into smaller mini projects so that it doesn't disrupt your life for a large chunk of time. So for example, in our house, the kitchen is an area that will eventually be redone. But at the moment, we're just doing the flooring. And so we're taking a weekend and disrupting our lives for a weekend to do the flooring. Eventually, we'll upgrade our cabinets. But for now, that's just where we're starting at. So then the next one down says, does it fit your lifestyle? A change that you make must align with your lifestyle, whatever it is. Families that have like a more relaxed lifestyle at home are going to prioritize health and wellness changes differently than families that are like on the go all the time. And they're both completely easy to work with. You just have to look at how you're going to do things differently, based on what type of family you are. I like to assess any of my changes that I want to make and ask myself first if they'll really be worth it given our current family lifestyle. And I always like to remind people that your lifestyle may change. If you have small kids, you know that it's ever changing. They grow, they change, your family dynamic and what you do on a daily basis changes. But look at the things you're willing to sacrifice in the name of having like a natural home, and then be okay with deciding a particular change is just not for your family. And then the last thing is the impact on your health and home. Some projects and some improvements have a huge impact because it's taking out toxins that we come in contact with daily, or toxins that are very elevated in our home. So some improvements will have a greater impact on the health and wellness of your natural home environment than others. So for example, replacing all of your vinyl windows, say you have vinyl, which contains phthalates, VOCs, polyvinyl chloride, sometimes some other toxins. If you replace them with wood windows, you'll likely reduce some of the toxin exposure in your house. But in the same breath, for a fraction of the price, you could install like an air exchanger to improve the indoor air quality and just push a number of toxins out and bring fresh air in. So something to just consider and think about when you're looking at these things. So step number 1 to dealing with a toxic area of your house is to assess. So first, I like to look at the project as a whole. I go through like the 4 areas that we talked about: money, stress, lifestyle, and impact. And then I use like a home project planning worksheet that I created to help me kind of decide if I want to do it and when I'll do it. I decide if the change is worth it for my family. And sometimes it doesn't make sense, to be honest with you. And that's okay. I have to be okay with that. So this is what the home project planning worksheet looks like. I have areas where I like to keep track of like materials I need to purchase, and I break mine down into the smallest steps as possible. I mean, annoyingly small, because then I know it'll get done, and then I can really look at it, and I can do things to move forward, even if it's not a huge step. And then I have some information up at the top to kind of give you like an estimated start date, completion date, you can write down your budget. So you can download that on my website. So the second step to dealing with a toxic area of your house is to decide. So once I kind of assess, then I decide. I look back, I look at the project, and if we're going to do it, we do it. If not, I just don't look back. I know that later on I can kind of come back around to it. I'm free to change my mind whenever I want. So I know that I've gone through the project and analyzed it. And once I've assessed it to the best of my abilities, I don't let myself feel guilty if it's a project that we just can't tackle at the moment. I just keep it in the back of my head, or I have a Pinterest board ready for it to go whenever I want. We utilize Google Keep a lot and have kind of a running list of projects that we're going to be doing. And then from there, we'll take each project, give it its own Google Keep board, and we'll break it down by step. So then the next step is really to plan. So once we have the improvement that we're going to do, we just start planning it out. The initial planning steps, from just planning, I will actually plan my planning. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody who's a planner. And then I'll break it down to the last detail. It helps me to figure out what supplies I need. It helps me to figure out who I need to contact if it's something we're bringing a contractor in for. It helps me know how much something is going to cost before I even get going, which is very important to me. So I'm a planner. From my viewpoint, it gives me just a sense of clarity, stability as we move kind of forward through the project. And as someone who also wants a healthy and natural home, it kind of gives me a really good way to plan each and every material that I'm going to use so that it aligns with my health and wellness goals for my home. And then the last step is to leave it. So if it's a project that we've decided that we're not going to be doing, it's one that we're going to forego, I leave it. And I do not make myself feel guilty. I don't come back to it. Sometimes I'll revisit it at some point, and that'll be down the road in the future, but I have to put it out of my head at the moment and work on what I can change. So this is very important. I have to remind myself that every small step that I make towards creating a healthy and natural home is a step in the right direction, and it all adds up, no matter how small. So if it's just a small change that I'm feeling like I'm making, that's okay. It still adds up to a healthier environment. Okay, so now that we've talked about areas of our house, let's talk about our habits, because habits also come into play when we're talking about a healthy house. So making a healthy habit change in your natural home can be an area that can help you reduce toxins and then improve the health of your indoor space. But it does take some planning and assessing, just like everything else. So step one in assessing is to look at the effect your habit change is going to have on other family members. If you have kids, if you have a spouse who's just not really on board or has different ideas, this is a big one. Each and every habit change that you make in your home means that your family may have to change as well. And that can be a really big step. And if it's going to be too hard to get your family to change, it might mean making a smaller change to start. It might mean just making a change for you to start. I like to kind of envision what the habit will look like long term when I look at my family, because I don't want to put a habit into place for just a little bit. The next step is to make sure that you're seeing it as a sustainable change. So if this is a change that you can sustain long term, this is a habit change that you're willing to do forever, go for it. If it's not, then really assess, is this worth it? Is this something I can keep up for the long haul? I like to think about how much it would take for my family to keep up with as well. And am I willing to put in the time and effort to change this? And then step number 2, the same thing. It helps to do this so that we're not constantly implementing new habits and then not sticking to them. That can make family members very frustrated. It doesn't feel good to ourselves because it's not accomplishing anything. So really think about that. And then the next part is to make a plan. So once you kind of know what you want to do, make a plan on how you're going to keep up with this habit. You might need a reminder at first. So just examples like taking off your shoes or running the bath fan for 20 minutes. You might need a little Post-it note somewhere or a reminder that this is what you're doing. If it's a reminder that you need for a timely thing where, I'm going to do this every day, open my windows for a half hour and then close them, put a reminder on your phone, utilize your phone calendar and do it that way. Most of the time, any change that you make, it just takes a couple weeks before you've made it a habit, and then you just don't even think about it anymore. So it makes it easy that way. And then the last part of it is don't stress. If you're not going to make the change, don't worry about it. Just remember that you decided. You can always go back and change, but just make a change that you're willing to make now And in another phase of your life, maybe it'll be an easier change to make. Maybe when your kids are older, maybe it'll be, when you have more saved up in your remodel budget. Just remind yourself that if you're moving in the right direction, any change you make is going to be a positive one, and you don't have to worry about something that you're not going to change immediately. So some of the habits that I think are perfect to start with, assessing humidity levels, and I have links to these in my blog post, but humidity levels in homes have a huge impact on our health, and a lot of times we ignore them. It's very easy to kind of get a handle on it and then start to alter them. The next thing would be monitoring your indoor air quality. So getting some sort of monitor and really knowing what's going on in your air is going to be another one. And then the last one that's really easy is just removing toxic cleaning products and replacing them with a plant-based, more healthy alternative. I hope that gives you guys some peace of mind and some help while you're trying to transform your house into a healthier environment for your family. I know that it can seem really overwhelming, and I just want you to know that I am here to help you in any way possible. If it's information you need, if it's a product that you're looking for, whatever it may be, I love helping families create a toxin-free environment. That is something that I have tried to do in my own home and we're still working on, and I love helping other families through the process as well. So please reach out to me by my website or my social media channels if you have any questions at all or you need any help moving forward. Otherwise, I will be with you guys again next week.